If you would like to learn how to tune your ukulele, then stick around because this tutorial is just for you.
I'm gonna love you unconditionally. Take your pain, take your burdens when you're hurting, you can place it on me.
Hey guys, it's Dylan Laine, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to tune your ukulele. If you're interested in growing as a musician or a songwriter, make sure you subscribe. I post tons of tutorials for guitar, piano, ukulele, and songwriting, as well as covers and original songs. Before we get started, I've made you an excellent cheat sheet to go along with this video. It will have all of the information that I cover typed out so that you can print it out and have it right in front of you. I'll put a link to the cheat sheet in the description box down below. Before we tune the ukulele, it's very helpful to memorize the string pitches. Another way to say this is to memorize the letters that are assigned to each of the 4 strings. As you can see, there are 4 strings, and there's a string closest to the floor and a string closest to your face. The string closest to your face is string number 4, and we call it the G string. The next string is string number 3, which we call the C string. Next we have string number 2, which we call the E string. And last, the string closest to the floor, string number 1, we call the A string. Even though we call each of these strings by a different letter, there are times when the string itself will actually sound like a different letter or pitch. If we're playing the G string, we want it to sound like a G string and not an A string or an E string. However, sometimes because our ukuleles are not perfect, it will have a different sound than the letter it's given. For example, if I play the G string, it's currently in tune, which means that you are hearing the G pitch. But sometimes if this gets turned, that's no longer a G pitch. So even though we would still call this a G string, it doesn't actually sound like the G pitch. And that's why we need to know how to tune our ukuleles. We want each string to sound like the pitch that it's called. If you look at the very top of your ukulele, you'll see this section, which is called the headstock. On the headstock, you'll see these 4 knobs, which connect to these pegs, and these are called the tuning pegs. If you turn these tuning pegs, you can either loosen the string or tighten the string that's wound around the peg. So for example, take any of these strings, put your finger on the string, and follow it all the way up to the tuning peg. Notice that it's wrapped around the peg, and then that peg is attached to this knob. So whenever you turn this, you're turning this, which is tightening or loosening the string that's wound around it. Because not all ukuleles are the same, I can't tell you for sure which direction will tighten it and which one will loosen it because it's different on some ukuleles. Because of this, you will need to do a little bit of experimenting to see which way you need to turn your ukulele tuning pegs in order to tighten or loosen the strings. Now, whether you're tightening or loosening the strings, you want to be very careful that you don't do it too fast. If you tighten them too fast, they could break. I've learned from experience. Now that you have a basic idea of how tuning works, let's talk about the steps needed in order to tune your ukulele. Step number 1 is to have some sort of device that will help you to know which pitch your string is and whether or not the pitch is in tune or out of tune. While there are several devices that you can use, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys what I use, which is an app called Guitar Tuna. Side note, this is not sponsored, I'm not being paid. Guitar Tuna doesn't even know who I am. I just genuinely like this app and it's what I use. If you don't have a phone or an iPad where you can download apps, another device you can use is a clip-on tuner, which is a little thing that you can clip on. It will have a square that tells you what pitch you're playing, and it will also show you if you are going below that pitch or above that pitch. I'll post a link to my favorite clip-on tuner in the description box down below. Step number 2 is to use your right hand to play an open G string. If you're not familiar with the term open, it means that nothing will be pressed down on the fretboard with your left hand. Take your right hand and play the open G string. You can play it multiple times as you watch the tuner. In some cases, whenever you're playing the G string or any other string, it might display that you're playing a G, but it might show you that the G is sharp or flat. For example, you see that that little red dot is moving to the left of the middle line. Whenever it moves to the left, that means that my string is flat, so I'm going to tighten it. I hear the ding, it means that my string is in tune. In most simple terms, if your string is flat, it means that the pitch is too low and that you need to tighten the string in order to get it where it needs to be. On the other hand, if your string is sharp, it means that the pitch is too high and that you need to loosen the string in order to get it where it needs to be. For example, on Guitar Tuna, you'll see that the little circle goes to the left of the middle line whenever it's flat, and it goes to the right of the middle line whenever it's sharp. If my G is sharp, which means that the string is too tight, and I start to loosen the string, you'll notice that the circle moves closer and closer to that middle line until you hear a ding. The fourth and final step is to apply steps 1 through 3 to the C, E, and A strings. Once each string is in tune, then play an easy chord to make sure that everything is sounding great. And that's it, you're all tuned up. If you're interested in growing as a ukulele player, or guitar or piano player, or a songwriter, then make sure you subscribe because those are the things that I teach here on this channel. Again, if you would like to download the cheat sheet for this video, I'll post a link to that in the description box down below. Until next time, remember to play, write, and spread the light.
Joy comes for free, oh, it's living inside of me, dancing through my veins.